All right, what's up, guys? VV back again with another video. This time, gonna be exploring the, some more theory crafting with this time with a deck tech style video. First up that we're gonna talk about is Rebecca. Just being completely upfront with y'all, Rebecca is the character I want to play the most right now. I love the way that her kit seems to work. More of a defensive style. More of a controlling style. That, for me, I don't know how else to say it. That's what I'm going for, right? I love this style deck where it's very defensive. Her leader can't even attack, right? So she's just, yep, I'm on defense, so I'm just going to play off that. And it looks like, we got some pretty good tools to go with her with the Dressrosa package. So, okay, so this is going to be like a Meta Watch style deck tech, deck evolution series even, because we are going to come back and forward to this as new decks come up. And just to get this out of the way too up front, OnePieceTopDecks.com is where I'm getting these tournament lists from. So if you have any questions, you need to go to that website. These aren't decks I'm making up. These are decks that have, winnings. Some of the tournaments are smaller than others, and some are very big, and I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, especially first place finishes. I want to keep an eye on the OP-04 meta and the OP-03 meta here in the West. I'm doing the East stuff as well because it's interesting. It's cards we all want to play with the OP-04 stuff, but I also want to keep an eye on what's going on over in the West with the OP-03 stuff, and they cover both on this website, so I will be kind of going over that. But first up to bat is going to be Black Blue Rebecca. By you see in the top left, it's got the deck name, the author, the date, the country it took place in, the tournament that it was, and the host of it. So, and just to give reference, at the time of me recording this video, I like to record a bunch of my videos up front and then post them one day at a time. I'm recording this on June 26th. 2023, so 6/26. Just this tournament happened only 5 days ago, or if it happened before that, it was recorded 5 days ago. So however that system works, I'm not exactly sure. So bottom line though is these are very recent current decks, right? This is meta, so to speak, or these decks they're taking place in the same meta as when I'm recording this video. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the entire deck list of each one of these. We're going to go over 4 Rebecca decks, 4 different styles that have all taken place in this past week. About 1 week, I think. You'll see. I think 2 are on 6/18, but you get the point. That are within 2 weeks of me recording this. We're going to take a look at these. Excuse me. And I'm going to read through the whole thing first on each one of these, and then we'll critique it. Okay, and I'll kind of give my recommendations, my own suggestions on where I would take the deck personally and why. Okay, so first up for this Rebecca deck, 3 Kuzans. I love that. I think 2 might be a more sufficient amount. I don't know if you need 3 because of how much card draw this deck has, but Kuzan, love that. Absolutely love that. And this is the only deck that runs Kuzan, okay? 10-drop Kuzan. 4 Orlumbus, 4 Yats, 2K counter, of course, 4 Monkey D. Luffy, 2 Leo, 4 Rebecca, 2 Six Kings Guns. This is interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. 2 Cavendish. I think that's the perfect number of Cavendish, by the way. 4 Kairos, 4 Sabo. That's perfect. 4 Bartolomeo. Perfect. 3 King Kong Gun. Gum King Kong Gun. I think that can go down 1. We'll talk about in a second. 3 Trino Bastardo. 2 Barrier. 3 Core to Coliseum. Perfect, by the way. I think 3 is perfect for the Coliseum. And then 2 for 3,000 Worlds. Okay. Right away, I just want to say, I think there are 3 cards in this deck that can go down to a 3 of. One of them already is. One was the Core to Coliseum. The other is Monkey D. Luffy. And then the other is Rebecca, right? The one cost Rebecca. I think Rebecca decks, from what I've seen, again, I've only watched limited playtesting of this. I have not been able to playtest it myself. I'm working on proxying up a deck currently for that. But here's the thing. I don't know how many Monkey D. Luffy 7-cost 7Ks we need, right? I think you need more than 2. I think 3 is that's the hot spot. That's the sweet spot. I think 4 might be too many. Where it's like, okay, how many, realistically, and again, this is from what I've seen with my own personal experience, you only want one Monkey D. Luffy down at a time, and you just want to have enough ammunition in your trash. Like, in other words, remember, he can activate during his main once per turn to remove 7 cards. Well, excuse me, not remove. Put 7 cards from your trash back at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then he stands up. And I think that's the way to play this deck. You want to smash in with him, and thanks to Corda Coliseum, he basically has Rush, right? You swing in with Corda Coliseum, or well, excuse me, you have Corda Coliseum out, but then you swing in with Monkey D. Luffy with Rush, and then you stand it back up. So they have no chance of dealing with him. Now, if they want to bottom deck him with like a 3,000 Worlds, okay, that's actually not a huge deal because you just put 7 cards from your trash back at the bottom of your deck. So let's just say, 2 turns go by and you do it and you get Monkey D. Luffy again. And then you swing in for 7 and stand him up immediately that turn so they don't have the chance to 3,000 Worlds him fast enough. And then 7 more cards are on the bottom. Oh, okay, now we're going to say they 3,000 Worlds or not 3,000 Worlds, Red Rock. Well, I guess 3,000 Worlds if they have a way to drop the cost of the character, but y'all know what I meant. I meant Red Rock. I'm sorry about that. So if they Red Rock him again, no problem. I have a Monkey D. Luffy, and then about 10 cards down, I have another Monkey D. Luffy coming back to the surface of my deck. And if you're using your entire turn by removing my character, I'm okay with that. Okay, so because, and I say I'm okay with that, quote unquote, because you're never removing a character from me in Rebecca. You're never removing anything because of the way Monkey D. Luffy works. So I do understand Monkey D. Luffy as a 4 of. Let me say that right now. And I even understand Corda Coliseum as a 4 of. But one card I don't understand as a 4 of is actually Rebecca. I don't know if that's the way to go. Because, hear me out. I think that instead you should, like this deck, for example, only has 8 2K counters. Now, yes, it has some defenders in Sabo and Bartolomeo. But here's the thing, and it has 2 barriers. I think that's actually the perfect number of barriers. Maybe 3 barriers is a little better, but two is definitely good. Especially when you're down to like 1 or 2 life left, then I think it can come in really clutch, where it's just you have 1 open, you can really save it at the end there. And by the way, which also leads to, you want to have 15 cards in your trash at all times, at least, so that you can activate barrier for its full potential. And that's where, I don't know if you want 4 Monkey D. Luffys. I think you want to use them a little more strategically, a little more intelligently. Not to say this guy wasn't using it like that. I'm saying like as a general, observation. So, all right, so let's talk about 3 other cards real quick. Leo, Kairos, and Cavendish. These are like the KO cards. And when you have Kuzan 10 drop down, I'll read it like this. Tell me if this even sounds fair to you. I keep calling Leo Gats for some reason. Leo, on play, you may rest your leader. If your leader has Dressrosa type, the Dressrosa type, KO up to one of your opponents, cost 6 or lower characters, and then trash your cards from your deck. That's what that card reads when Kuzan's down, right? And how's about down here with Cavendish? That one's a little hard for me to read. You may rest your leader, KO up to one of your opponent's characters, cost 6 or less with Kuzan down, and then trash 2 cards. And that's when attacking, by the way. And then Kairos, exact same thing. They're all 1 or less. But with Kuzan down, they're 6 or less. That takes out almost anything, right? And for the things it doesn't take out, your Truno Bastardo and your 3,000 Worlds is going to take out now. And then I don't know. I do feel like this deck is heading in the right direction. There's just a few things I would adjust. I don't know about the 6 King gun. The 6 Kings gun. I don't really like that personally. I get it. You're discarding a card that doesn't have a counter on it because you know you're going to get it back later, right? So this would kind of more justify running 4 Corda Coliseums if you had like 2 or 3 6 King guns, because now you can just discard your Corda Coliseum as like a pseudo 1K counter and your 6 King gun as a pseudo 2K counter so that they equal 3,000, right? That's interesting. I like that idea, and that might be on the right path, but I personally would rather just have 2K counters there. Like I said, okay, let me just say, this is the adjustment I would make to the deck, just looking at it face value right here. An immediate change I would make is -1 Monkey D. Luffy, -1 Gum Gum King Kong gun, because I think 2 is the sweet spot for that card. And then I would take out both 6 King guns, or 6 Kings gun, for 2K counters. whether it be a Suru, whether it be a Khalifa, or whether it be a Kaya, the one cost blue Kaya. She's like a one cost, 0 power 2K counter that has on play draw 2, discard 2. Just incredible for what we're doing, but something along those lines. Or I mean, I guess technically even like a Garp would be fine. I mean, it's almost always going to be a 2K counter, right? But it's nice to have an additional effect on it that is actually relevant. So I would stick with Suru and Kaya, personally, for the final 2K counter spots. Because I think you should be going up to 12 2Ks. Let me say that. 10 to 15 2Ks I think is justifiable in a deck like this. Because with Rebecca, you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. You're going to be drawing more cards than you can play. Okay, well, how do we get around that? 6 King's Gun is a good idea. I do like what's going on in this deck. This is 6 King Guns for those, if you can't see it up here. Like, that is a good idea. But I do think that the 2K counters would just be better because you want to be pitching cards as much as possible each turn to save life. Because remember, this is blue-black. We're not gaining life. We want to pitch cards to gain, to use counters so we can use Rebecca's effect every single turn if possible. So... okay, and then the one last thing I think I would change, like I said, is I would take out one Rebecca, and for that one spot taken out, I probably would put in another 3,000 Worlds. I would even take out one Kuzan, like I said, and put in an additional barrier. So, okay, really cool deck. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, I'm going to read through it real quick, and then we'll talk about it. We got Rebecca, Kobe, for Rebecca, we got Kobe as a 2 of, Suru as a 4. So this character has a Suru, right? 4 Olympus, 4 Bartolomeo, 3 Monkey D. Luffy, 2 Leo, 4 Rebecca, 2 3000 Worlds, 4 Gats, 2 Cavendish, 4 Kairos, 4 Sabo, 2 Sogi King, 2 Gum Gum King Kong Guns, 2 Truno Bastardo, 2 Barrier, and 3 Corda Coliseum. Okay, right away, 3 Monkey D. Luffy, 3 Corda Coliseum, love it. I already love that. 2 King Kong Gun, yes, perfect. And they're running 12 2K counters. So this is on track to be something incredible already. The only thing I have a slight issue with is there is no big drop. Like, where's your 8, 9, or 10 drop coming in? And they don't have one. Their biggest character is Sogi King and Monkey D. Luffy. And this Kobe in the front, I'm not a huge fan of that. Not that it's a bad card. I'm just not a big fan of it. Because I actually think this Kobe card has a lot of potential. But the deck that I think it would have potential in is a deck where they have 10-drop Kuzan. Where now he is tapping every turn and KOing something that's a 7 or less. And by the way, players who play a lot of black decks know typically for an effect like that, you're discarding a card from your hand, not milling 2 off the top with these new Dressrosa cards do. You're going to be you're going to be discarding a card from your hand with an effect like that. But this does not have that, which makes it very strong. Another thing I want to mention too, just reel back to the last deck. The Leo. This deck runs 2 Leos, and so does this one. I do think that's nice. Leo is good. For those who don't know, at the time of me recording this, Zoro and Law are very strong deck leaders in the format, and they like to swing wide. They put down a lot of 1-cost characters, 2-cost characters, 3-cost characters. So having these Leos in here, having the Kairos, of course, is going to be in, right? Having those in the deck, though, is very important to help stabilize against those decks. So really cool deck tech there, because otherwise that card Leo doesn't seem that good, but it has a very, very important place, because after you've used him, now you can just KO him with Olympus, right, and use, get extra value out of it. So that's excellent. Very, very good synergy there. Nothing too much out of here. If I were to critique this deck just a little bit, just to offer my own recommendations on it, I would take 2 Kobe out. I understand it's a cool card, but I would literally rather have the 3-cost 4K Kobe that KOs a 3 or less and I discard a card. Because remember, with Rebecca, if you're not pitching cards to counter out of things, then you need to find a way to pitch cards against decks that might not be as fast, because it's going to be hard to keep her. You want to use Rebecca's ability every single turn. Okay, guys, you want to use Rebecca's leader ability every single turn. So you need to find ways to pitch cards. Like, you know, this guy's swinging in for 5K and all I have is a 2K counter. Oh, man, I guess I'll just take it. No, no, no. Do not take it. Just pitch the 2K counter. It's fine. You know what I mean? At least, and we'll see. Things might change over time. And it depends on your matchup. It depends on what you know about the game state. But in general, you want to keep these cards on your hand so you can, first of all, so you can fuel your discard, your trash, and so you can keep using Rebecca every turn. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You know, pretty self-explanatory, right? But you might not. A lot of people don't think of it like that until they're in the game when it might be too late. Because think of it like this. Say you don't defend and you take the hit, right? Oh, I'm at 5 life, right? I'll take the hit. Well, let's say you had 6 cards in your hand. Well, now you have 7 cards, and you're going to draw to your 8th card next turn. So there's almost no chance you're going to be able to play Rebecca's ability next turn. Realistically, there's no chance. Unless it's like turn 7 or 8. You know, unless it's like where you have 10 Dawn down, right? So anyway. Last thing I want to say about this deck is the Soji King I would not be running. The Kobe I would not be running. And I would be dropping Rebecca down by 1. And what else? Everything else looks really good. So with those 5 cards I just removed, 1 Rebecca, 2 Soji King, and 2 Kobe, I would probably be going to 2 Kuzans or 2 Kaido, which we'll look at in a minute. That's in a deck coming up. And then the final 3 spots would be something I'd have to look at, like what this guy did. You know, he's running the what was he running that the other guy wasn't? Let's see. Is there something he's running that he's not? Well, he was running 3 Kuzan and the 2 King, 6 King's Gun. He was running 4 Monkey D. Luffy. So a slight difference in all these decks. I'm starting to think like maybe I should have counted all these decks before I post them, because I just took them right off the website. Hopefully these all come out to be 50 cards exactly. I don't know who posts these, but you know, I still think it's a good website. I just didn't count it myself, but I'll always make sure in the future, you know, going forward, that these are exactly 50, because something seems to not add up. If I take out the 2 Kobes here and a Sogi King, that puts me at 3 Kuzans. Minus 1 more Sogi King. I could add to the Monkey D. Luffy. Okay, yeah, so it adds up. I think it adds up. Oh, and that's what it was. I'm sorry. Now I remember. This deck runs the 4 Surus. Okay, that's where the missing numbers are. Because I see something's not adding up, guys. Okay, it all makes more sense now. But yeah, I would definitely be messing around with it in that way, where I take out the 2 Sogi Kings and the 2 Kobes, go to 3 Kuzan. With the 1 remaining there, I'd go up 1 Truno Bastardo. I'd take out 1 Rebecca and go up 1 3000 Worlds. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Had to go on a rant there in the middle of the video, but you know, we're going through it together. Okay, next deck. We got Arthur Hans here. These last 2 were both on 618. Notice that they're both on 618. This one was at Sutaya host, a 16-person event, it looks like. And this one's at Gamers Tavern. Okay, this deck looks much different. So let's run through it real quick. They got the Rebecca, of course. 4 Orlumbus, 4 Gats, 2 Cavendish. That seems perfect for Cavendish, just as a 2 of. Excellent. 4 Bartolomeo, 3 Monkey D. Luffy, 4 Rebecca, 3 Gum Gum King Kong Gun, 4 Kairos, 4 Sabo, 1 5-cost Vanilla Trafalgar Law, the 7K. Okay. 2 Hazredin, 4 Truno Bastardo, 2 Barrier, 4 Corda Coliseum, 3000 Worlds, and then 3 Gomu Gomu no Red Rock, however you say, Gum Gum Red Rock, whatever. Okay, interesting right away. They're running the 3 Luffys, which I love. They're running 4 Corda Coliseums, which I do understand that over... Like I said, I understand running 4 Luffys and 4 Corda Coliseum, but I don't understand running 4 Rebecca. But I can still come to grips with running the 4 Luffys and Coliseums. The Rebecca seems like a mistake to me personally. It seems like a mistake to me. And I would actually take Rebecca out in this case to put in Leo. This guy's not even running Leos. But he is running a lot of removal. So I will say that. He's running 3 of the Trunos, 3 of the 3000 Worlds, and 3 Red Rocks. A lot of removal in this deck. He's running his 4 Olympus to drop down the costs. Yeah, this deck looks pretty solid overall. Pretty solid. I'm trying to see... Again, this is a deck where it doesn't really have a you know, anything huge. It's almost like they're running the Trafalgar Law as like their bomb. Excuse me, or the Monkey D. Luffy, or the Hajradin. Excuse me. I think I personally, I'm just going to say this up front. I would take out one Corda, one Rebecca, one King Kong gun, one Red Rock. I think 2 Red Rock is a very good number when you're running 3,000 worlds. And I would take out the 1 Trafalgar Law. I would go up the 3 Kuzan. I just think Kuzan is so strong because it comes in with tempo, KOing something, and then you're going to have this full hand of 2K counters in a deck like this. I just think it's so good. Or Kaido, like we said, that's going to be the very last list, the last deck list we're looking at, which is the next one. Yeah, we'll talk about that then. But yeah, out of all the 4, this one I think seems the most basic, honestly. And maybe they aren't playing more. Maybe they're not playing the cards I said because maybe they don't have them. I doubt it, but you know, you get what I'm saying. It's a possibility. So for 2K counters, they're running 4 Bartolomeos, they're running 4 Gats, and that's it. They're running 2 barrier. 2 barriers seems like the hot spot. That seems really good. 4 Kairos, of course. 4 what's he called? Sabo there. 2 Cavendish. It looks like we're getting the core of the deck established, and it's starting to look pretty good. And currently, from what we've seen, it looks like 4 Olympus, 4 Gats, 4 Bartolomeo, 2 Cavendish, at least 3 Monkey D. Luffy, at least 3 Corda Coliseum, 2 barriers, 4 Kairos, 4 Rebecca is what people are doing. At least 2 Gum Gum King Kong guns, at least 2 3,000 worlds, and it looks like that's the core of the deck, right? Maybe I might talk more about that in the last on the last deck here, but that seems like the core of it so far for Rebecca. There's still minor adjustments to be made from there, but we'll have to see what direction the meta goes and what works and what doesn't. But overall, I would definitely be adding Kuzans and more 2K counters just right away. And Leo, I would like to see Leo in this deck. And that's what so back to what I was saying. Sorry about that, guys. I would take out this 1 Trafalgar Law. I would take out both Hajradin. I would take out 1 Red Rock, 1 Rebecca, 1 Corda Coliseum, and a Gum Gum King Kong gun. That was 7 cards. And I'd be going up 4 2K counters, 2 Kuzans, and then at least 1 Leo. At least 1 Leo. And I think the idea is, why run the Red Rocks when you can Orlumbus and then 3,000 Worlds or Truno Bastardo everything in the game? Like, in it, how do I say this? I like Red Rock, and it requires no setup. It's just a 6 cost counter anything in any character in the game, right? But here's the thing. 3,000 Worlds in this deck already does that with cards like Orlumbus, and then even if you want to throw in Suru as your final 2K counter, it already does that, right? It's already Red Rock for 2 less, you know. I do like the Hajradin. I'm not gonna lie, I like Hajradin because he's a 7 cost beater, man. He just comes in and smashes things. I do like him as a 2 of. I think that's fine. I think that's fine, actually. So, okay. Let's keep going. This is the final deck here. I only had 4 lined up for us today. This is by Tommy, Black Blue Rebecca. This was some flagship placement, first place deck. It looks like a 32-person tournament. All right, let's read through it. We got Rebecca, Suru, 4 Suru, 4 Orlumbus, 4 Gats, 4 Leo. Wow. 4 Rebecca, 3 Kaido. I like that. There's the big boy Kaido there. We'll talk about him in a minute. 3 Gum Gum King Kong gun, 4 Kairos, 4 Sabo, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 Monkey D. Luffy. Yep. And 4 Corda Coliseum down there. Sorry. 3 Truno Bastardo and 1 Barrier. So he's not even running 3,000 Worlds. Yeah, that's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20. So 20, 40, 9. Yeah. So that's 50 cards. I love 4 Leos because, like I said, in the current format, you're going to run into Zoros, or either Zoros or Luffy's, or what's the other guy, Trafalgar Law. You're going to run into these like low cost decks, and Leo is actually just insane against that, to be honest. Because like I said, if you play him, if they go turn, say they go first, if they go turn 1 cost, whatever, and then you go turn 2, use Rebecca's ability and then Leo KO your guy. Okay, next turn they play maybe 2 or 1 or 2 ofs, and then you just, you know, from there you can drop your Bartolomeo as a defender or drop your Kairos if you got it for another KO. It has really strong tempo. Now, they're not running Cavendish in this deck. That makes me sad because I do think he is such a good card in the late game. But I also understand it's almost like they took out the. If you notice, the 2 first decks we looked at had 2 Leos and 2 Cavendish. It's almost like this guy said, "All right, I don't have time for Cavendish. The meta's too fast. I'm just running 4 Leos." I get it. It makes sense. Excuse me. I do think. Oh yeah, 2K counters. We got 4 Subaru, 4 Bart, 4 Gat. So he's at 12 2K counters. Perfect. I love that. 4 Corda Coliseum. He is trying to get to that as soon as possible so that he can start pitching those cards, right, with cards like Sabo. I still think 3 is the better number personally. I personally, until otherwise stated, like once I get my own experience, right? But I think we can get away with 3 Monkey D. Luffy's, 3 Corda Coliseums. And for the big 10 costs, I only want 2 of those in my deck because this deck draws so many cards. Speaking of that, Kaido. Excuse me. Kaido is really nice, right? Kuzan, I feel like, is better. Personally, that's just me. But it's speaking overall, by the way. Excuse me. But Kaido coming in as a 10 cost 12K, yeah, that's huge. That's hard to deal with. That's a lot to deal with. And he bounces 2 characters, right? So if you Orlumbus something, he can push back. I think it's a 9. Like he does a 5 cost and a 3 cost, it looks like. Yeah, so or someone correct me if I'm wrong. I can't really read it this far away. Hang on one second. Let me just I can look at it real quick because I have it right here. Yeah, it's a excuse me, a cost of 8. Excuse me, not a 5. An 8 or less, and a 3 or less. So in this deck with Orlumbus, you can literally get an 8 and a 7 or a 10 and a 3. Just boom, you're out of here. See you next turn, and now I've got a 10 cost 12K down on the board. You know. Excuse me. This seems like a much stronger defensive 10 drop than Kuzan is. Like, yes, if Kuzan can stabilize the turn he hits, and in a deck like this, he should be able to with all the 4K counters, or excuse me, 2K counters. But excuse me, man, my voice is drying out. Sorry, guys. Kaido just bounces 2 threats off the board, and now you can stabilize from there and your 2K counters. So I do get running him. I personally like the 10-drop Kuzan a little better in these decks because it has so much synergy with every card, whereas Kaido is just good for that single turn of plop him down, push 2 guys back, and now I'm going to stabilize. Kuzan is more plop him down, KO 1 big card, and hopefully I can stabilize, right? Bouncing 1 card, excuse me, KOing 1 card and bouncing 2 cards is a very big difference, I will say. But as a result, Kaido is only better when he first hits, whereas Kuzan is better for the rest of the game, right? At least in my personal opinion. So tell me what y'all think in the comments below about that. So, okay, just offer my own little critique about this deck. I would take out 1 Gum Gum King Kong gun. I would take out 1 Kaido. I would take out 1 Corda Coliseum, 1 Luffy, and 1 Rebecca. That's 5 cards. With those 5 cards, I would be putting in 2 3000 Worlds. And for the final 3 cards, man, I would really... He's not running Cavendish. I would go up 1 barrier and I'd have 2 spots left, and I would run the 2 Cavendish, I think. Something along those lines. But overall, I think this deck is really nice. This seems really good. Well, okay, guys. So I think we've got the core down. 4 Kairos, 4 Sabo, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 Gats, 4 Orlumbus. That's 20 cards done. At least 3 Monkey D. Luffy. At least 3 Truna Bastardo. At least 2 10 drops. That's 8. And then I would say at least 3 Corda Coliseum. So now we're looking at 31 cards that are just set in stone. 4 Gats, of course. two Leo to two Cavendish. We're starting to really see the core develop around Rebecca, and I'm curious to see where things are going to go from here. Is there a card that needs to be dropped from the core, or needs to be cut down a few cards? We'll see as time goes on. Only time will tell. Well, guys, I hope you all enjoyed that. I think this one was going to be this is going to be my longest deck tech, because Rebecca is one of the characters I have the most interest in, and there are other characters I have a lot of interest in that I'm going to talk about a lot as well. But Rebecca in particular definitely is the direction I'm facing, right? So yeah, if y'all haven't noticed. So I apologize for the long video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Y'all leave me some comments in the section below. Leave a like and subscribe if you don't mind. And as always, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping in and hanging out with me, listening to me ramble about these cards. Okay, guys. Till next time, peace.